What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Snowcast Sports Talk Episode 15, Take 2. Josh, how are we doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great. We, yeah, we've had a little bit of news come in since the last time we had our talk, and we were talking about. We actually hinted at some of the news we're going to talk about today in the last one, and it's finally come in, so we could finally talk about it. Yeah, looking forward to get into it.
Yeah, let's start there. We were going to start with the new Giants Life episode, but let's start with the big news. So, last episode we talked about the potential of James Bradberry being cut. And it looks like Joe Schoen couldn't find a decent trade offer to free up the cap space. So on Monday, yesterday, we cut James Bradberry. Cornerback of the New York Giants is now probably the best defensive player on the free agent market. So definitely, I guess I'll quickly talk about how I feel about it. I think I kind of talked myself into being more okay with this. It's sad to see James Bradberry go. So a couple years ago, Dave Gettleman signed him. He was a guy who we really wanted to come in here and actually didn't have a lot of expectation, just another cornerback that we wanted here or that we got to have here at the Giants. And he actually turned into one of our best defensive players, especially in 2020, the first year he was here. He was a lockdown cornerback, fit really well in the scheme with Patrick Graham, and should have gone to the Pro Bowl, but he was an all-pro cornerback, and he played very well for us. So it was sad to see him go, but, the silver lining to all of this is James Bradberry, at the beginning of last year in 2021, Patrick Graham tried a defensive style blitzing more, and James Bradberry actually really struggled in it. Me and Josh actually just recently watched the Washington Giants game week 2 of last year, and Terry McLaurin had a field day one-on-one with James Bradberry. So, I think the thing is, yeah, our defense is a little bit weaker, but James Bradberry, I really don't think was a great scheme fit for a Wink Martindale man coverage cornerback defense. And secondly, he's going to be 29 this year or 30, so he's a little bit older, and I really didn't want to push more money down the line to keep him. I'd rather have a lot of free cap space next year. So, I don't know. How do you feel about it, Josh?
I think from a financial point of view, it totally made sense, but it really does hurt to see him go. He was a really good defensive back, probably our best defensive back.
Yeah, still on the roster. Our best one's still
Yeah,
on the roster.
and he was smart, tough, dependable. And talk about dependable, he only missed one game with the Giants, and it was
Yeah.
because of a COVID. He was on the COVID list.
Yep.
So, and another quick stat about him is Bradberry, he has 82 career pass defenses, and he has led the team in each of the 6 NFL seasons that he was with us. So,
Six? No. 6 NFL seasons he's been playing
seasons
football.
total.
Yeah,
Total. Okay.
total.
Yeah,
But yeah, still
total.
though, I mean, it
But
shows
yeah,
you how good this guy was.
yeah. So, absolutely, he led the team every time in every season of whichever team he was with, the Giants or otherwise. So, anyway, he was a really great player, and it sucks to see him go. I'm so happy that we were able to free up some of that cap space that we really did need, and I'm really looking forward to him doing well wherever it is he ends up
Let's
being.
just hope it's not the Cowboys or the Eagles, which is the
Right.
rumors going around right now. But most recently, I heard the Raiders, which is where Patrick Graham, now our old defensive coordinator, went. There's a lot of rumors that's where he's going to go. So, I think it's one of these things where when you rebuild a team, this is the part of the rebuild that's not fun, is when you actually watch good veteran players on your team have to go due to free up cap space for just the rookies. And, also cleaning up a bad situation. Joe Schoen, when he came here, we knew he was going to have to gut this team. And now
Yeah.
we've lost Logan Ryan, Jabril Peppers, and James Bradberry. Arguably the 3 best defensive players in our secondary are now all gone.
Yeah, it's really tough, but it's not Shane that put us in this situation.
No, absolutely, and that's a great little transition to our thank you, Dave Gettleman moment. So just a quick fun stat from my side is the dead money cap we have. So what happens is when we cut James Bradberry, we owed him a certain amount of money. When we cut him, we save a certain amount, but we still have to pay him a certain amount because of his contract. So that amount we have to save him is dead cap. We're paying him to not be on the team.
Gotcha.
So this year
Yeah, I
we're
was going to ask you actually what dead money means. I've been hearing that term thrown around when talking about this contract, and I'm like, What is dead money exactly? What
So
is it?
James Bradberry was owed $20 million about. And when we cut him,
Right.
we didn't have to pay him $10 million, but we still have to pay him the other $10 million. So basically, he could go play for the Eagles, and we have to pay him.
Gotcha. Yeah, because there's a certain amount of money that's guaranteed
Exactly.
we have to. Yeah.
So,
But you know,
I don't mean to cut you off, but just to go through this list here, James Bradberry, we're paying him $11 million. He's not going to be playing with us. Logan Ryan, we're going to be paying him $11 million. He's not playing with us. Nate Solder, we're going to be paying him $4 million, not playing for us. Kyle Rudolph, we're going to be paying him $2.4 million. Logan Ryan, $1.2, and then some smaller amounts. But those are all starters last year that are now no longer on the team. Total amount, we are paying $31 million of our $200-something million cap to people not playing on the New York Giants. That is the 5th most in the NFL. Thank you, Dave Gettleman.
Gettleman. Jesus Christ. But you
Now,
know what? It's necessary.
This is the part.
We got to purge the crap out of the team. Not the crap, but the financial bind that we're in.
The financial crap.
Oh, yeah, and the financial crap, exactly. And then next year, then we should be in a much better spot, and we won't have team players we don't need with too high of a salary. And
exactly, and that's the approach Joe Schoen is taking, and that's kind of goes back to the point we've talked about, and I've talked about here with other guests too. Is this we're not a win now team. Joe Schoen has said, "Oh, hey, we want to win now and rebuild." They want to rebuild. You don't cut James Bradberry, one of the top cornerbacks in the NFL, unless you know he's not part of the future and it's not a win now year. Are they doing things to try to win now? Absolutely. Look at their draft class. Absolutely, they're doing things to win now. But we also have to think about the future, and that's really what's important to the Giants right now. And that's why seeing James Bradberry go as a fan today is something that really makes me sad. Like I tweeted, I said, I knew this was coming and it still stung. Like I was at work, got in my office, looked at my phone, and it was like James Bradberry's been cut. And like it still hurt. Like no matter how much I knew it was going to happen. But a year from now, Josh, like when we're looking at our cap situation, you and me are going to be very happy that we let him go now and not push his money out the year.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Absolutely agree. And I think Joe Schoen is really doing the best that he can with what he's been given, and so far I approve.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this was the only option for really a rebuild. Like if I was playing Madden and I had to rebuild the team and this was my situation, this would be what I do. So
and I mean there are other guys that we have cut as well. They don't get a lot of attention because they weren't big names. But there are also other players that we have cut recently, like some people that haven't actually had any snaps with the Giants, and then like our offensive lineman Wes Martin, he played a little bit last year. He's been released, and a few others. So, but
yeah, we're freeing up space for we're freeing up space for the Sorry, I'm looking for a tweet here of our current secondary, but freeing up space for the undrafted free agents.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And right now, the secondary, there's, our safeties that we've got. I honestly think the secondary is probably going to be the weakest part of the team going forward.
And that's why I wanted,
weak point,
That's why I wanted the tweet seeing, but I guess, it takes Adoree Jackson and shifts him into cornerback 1, which will be a bit of a stretch for him. And then who's going to be cornerback 2? We have 3 guys. We have Darnay Holmes, we have Robinson, and we have Flott. And all 3 of those guys are better in the slot. So I think if I had to bet, I think Robinson, I forget his first name off the top of my head, but I think Robinson might be the guy we go with as our cornerback 2, which will definitely be a challenge for him. But if you look at his tape, he has plays and moments where you can be optimistic. I also hope Wink, though, adjusts a little bit to who his personnel is. Don't try to blitz 50% all the time this year, because I don't think that's going to work for us. Now, some people, that might be a hot take, but I just think Wink has to structure his defense around who he has right now and understand that if Daniel Jones works out next year in the draft, cornerback's going to be our biggest need.
Yeah, I do really think that he has to kind of adopt the same mentality that, Brian Dable has, which is playing around your what you got. So whatever it is you have, play to that strength, and don't try to, as people say, fit square pegs in a round hole.
Well, it's funny you say that, because if you look at the Giants, what's their biggest strength on defense? My argument would be defensive line. Now that we have Azeez Ojulari, Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, and Kayvon, my boy Thibodeau, as the four. So do you really need to pass rush more? You know what I'm saying? Do you need to bring blitzes from all these different angles? It might make more sense with this team starting off to maybe play more of like a Patrick Graham style, which I know a lot of people don't like. And you know what? Wink Martindale might not do it. But at least when I look at this team on paper, having, let's say, for example, we're playing the Eagles, having Devontae Smith and who's the wide receiver they got from the Titans? I'm not going to remember his name now, which is really going to bum me out. But having those two guys line up against Adoree Jackson and Robinson at QB1 and QB2 could be a long day for us. So that's what's difficult, you know? So we'll see.
Yeah.
It sucks to see Bradberry go. I hope the best for him. I hope he doesn't end up with the Eagles or the Cowboys. I hope he ends up on the Raiders.
I'm curious. Do you think Flott will be a starter?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But I think he will absolutely get some play time.
Oh yeah, they'll switch him in and out. But who was it? Kid Blue had a tweet, and I liked it. He said a lot of people don't realize Darnay Holmes has some pretty good tape from last year. So Darnay Holmes could be a sleeper at starter for slot. He's just a better slot corner, while I think Robinson might be a little more versatile. So either way, secondary is our weakness. There is also some free agents on the market. I don't remember the names off the top of my head, but we could maybe bring in a free agent at a cheaper price. I don't know if I'd be for that, but maybe signing someone to a 1-year deal might be the best bet.
Yeah, I mean, if we really need it and if we can free up enough space, then yeah, if we can, and thinking about long term as well, and how is that going to affect, next year? But you're saying just like a 1-year thing.
Yeah, like after this year, be done with it.
Yeah, we certainly look into that depending on the players available. But one other thing that I was thinking about was something I would really enjoy. What I'm trying to say is I've come up with a metric on exactly how many games I would like the Giants to win.
Oh. You figured out the number.
Yeah, maybe not the exact number, but we went 4-13 last year.
Yeah,
right?
we did.
So we went pretty bad last in the division. I would be very, very happy with second in the division. So if we could go with second in the division, I'd be happy with that. That shows a lot of improvement. Obviously, winning the division is the goal. I would obviously be happy about that. But even second in the division, I'd be super pumped about. I would say that's a lot of improvement. We've come a long way since last year. And this new coaching staff and the new people that we have around us, the general manager and all of that, they're doing a good job and they're taking us in the right direction. If we end up having the same kind of year, like the same type of thing, the same type of record, I feel a little bit less confident.
Oh, well, I need to... This is a topic. I'm happy this is not scripted for everyone listening, but this is a great topic to talk about. So this is where the genius of Joe Shane comes in. So here's my quiz question to you, and it's okay if you don't know the answer, but I'm going to ask.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
If the Giants get second or first in the division, or if they go dead last, what's the main reason? Just snapshot thought. What's the one biggest thing that happened that season that's going to determine that?
O-line performing and Daniel Jones starting to perform to his full potential.
Daniel Jones is the only one. It's Daniel Jones, because and this is why Joe Shane's a genius, because what Joe Shane didn't do was pick up Daniel Jones's fifth-year option. So let's say we go dead last in the division. You know what that means? Daniel Jones is not the guy, and we owe him no money. We are not financially attached to him. We can release him and let him go. And if Jones plays that bad, we will have a top 5 pick in a very quarterback-heavy draft next year in the top 10 picks. And then we'll have our quarterback.
Yeah, because here's the thing is, even if our defense plays amazing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Even if Thibodeau gets a sack every game.
Yeah, so he gets 15, 16 sacks.
Yeah, say like that. even if that, it will not matter at all if Jones doesn't step up and win us games. But the thing is when he's playing at his, when he's on the field, I'll just tell the viewers here, I have been rewatching all of the games that we played last season. And I'm up to like game 6 in the season. I've watched the full 2-hour broadcast.
Did you watch the Saints game?
Yes.
I don't know if you have yet. It's okay if you haven't.
Maybe not. I don't think I have yet.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll watch that one.
Yeah, we'll watch it together. But when he's on the field, man, I always find that if we're going down, it's not because of him. It's really like when I'm watching this film and I'm seeing Daniel Jones play at his highest, at his best. You know, he's making great plays. He's throwing the ball downfield. He's getting rush yards, like touchdowns, rushing more than our own running back. Like, he's an amazing quarterback, and I feel like he just needs that surrounding core to help him get to that next level.
So you've picked your side in the Daniel Jones camp that it's not his fault. No, I'm just kidding. But you have, though. I mean, that you have. This is now the biggest conundrum with Giants fans. This is where it all stems from. You can watch Good Morning Football, and this is what they talk about on there. They talk about, is Daniel Jones the guy? And Giants fans are 150% split on it. I mean, it is like half in one camp, half in the other.
He's not perfect.
No, and he makes some dumb. Get ready for this season. There's some gems.
I can't imagine. I just saw yesterday him dive head first at that guy and get a concussion.
Oh, with the Cowboys?
Yes. By the way, the Cowboys game, that was probably the worst game I've ever seen.
Well, yeah, because they brought out Mike the Neck.
Yeah, they lost. They lost the quarterback.
They lost Barkley.
They lost Barkley
because he twisted his ankle at the end of a play
by stepping on somebody. He lost the wide receiver. They lost the wide receiver as well. Our main wide receiver.
Yeah, Galladay.
Yeah, I was blanking on his name.
It's okay.
Kadarius Toney punched a guy
after he had a great game.
All of this happened in the same game. All of it. Like, how does this many things get condensed into a single game?
No, I'm with you. But no, Jones is definitely. I mean, but that's the thing, Josh. This is like, just to bring it back. This is the genius of Joe Schoen. If we go second in the division, Daniel Jones is the guy, and we don't need a quarterback. If we go dead last in the division, Daniel Jones isn't the guy, and we'll have a top 10 first-round pick next year in a quarterback-heavy draft, and we get our quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So, like, either way, it's going to be okay, and that's the beauty of Joe Schoen. That's the genius, and that's why I'm so happy with this offseason, because no matter what happens this season is all about clarity. That is like the word of this 2022 season is clarity. Is Daniel Jones the guy? We gave you a better not better defense. We gave you a better offensive line. We gave you another weapon. We didn't create any quarterback controversy. You have a healthy Saquon Barkley, and you have a defensive coordinator that is tried and proven in this league in Donwink Martindale, who's been in this league forever and has always been a great defensive coordinator. So now it is on Jones. Plus, we gave you Brian Dable, one of the best offensive coordinators from last year, and we gave you Mike Kafka, the quarterbacks coach from the Kansas City Chiefs, with Patrick Mahomes as your offensive coordinator. Like, we have put all the pieces around Jones. It is now time to see if Jones can do it. And if we go second in the division or first in the division, Jones did it. Because that means we have 9 or 10 wins, and we're probably competing for a playoff spot. And the reason we're probably not won more games is because our secondary didn't play well, and because of dumb injuries, and because of just being a new young team with a new head coach. And it's not all the quarterback.
Yeah.
So don't stress about next year, Giants fans. Do not stress about it. Next year is about clarity. Every game we win, great. Every game we lose, great. I know it's going to sting in the moment and it's going to suck, but we're learning what we have at quarterback. Most important position in sports. So.
Yeah, and I really hope that this defensive line can hold up. And another thing is the offensive line. Isn't Thomas the only one that's
back
remaining the same?
He's the only one that's back.
Lineman that is remaining the same from last year.
Nick Gates, due to injury, though. So Nick Gates could come back, but everyone else, it looks like there's going to be, right tackle is obviously different, and then right and left guard, we're going to have Glowinski and then some of our draft picks.
Yeah, either Max Garcia.
Glowinski's probably going to start over Garcia, and then I would think Azudu will start over Garcia, but we'll see. Garcia could start over him. It's going to be like swing guards. Yeah. They'll be in and out. But yeah, it's all about the quarterback.
It'll all come down to him, and I personally have maybe more faith than others. I don't know. I think he's a pretty good quarterback that just hasn't had the surroundings to really live up, because I have seen him. Everybody has. Obviously, I'm not the only one. I just watched the games, so they're fresh in my mind, and he really is a talent.
He's very talented. He is. What you're gonna see throughout the rest of the year, though, is what we talked about when we watched a little bit of the Washington game. He struggles with reading the field.
He's not perfect. There are
And
some issues.
And he plays like it's the last play of his career, and he hurts himself. And he did it to the point where it honestly cost Joe Judge's job. You could argue Daniel Jones getting hurt, and I think it was week 13 or week 14, or maybe week 12. He missed the rest of the year, and we never recovered. So, yeah, it's gonna be super interesting. Great off topic though. I really do think Giants fans, including you, Josh, next year is not a year where you want to go and win the Super Bowl. Next year is a year where you want to leave each game and go, Daniel Jones played great or Daniel Jones played horrible. Either answer is okay. Because if he played horrible, yeah, because we don't owe him any money after, and we know we need to draft a quarterback. We get that clarity. That's okay. That's okay. We're not, the Bradberry release shows us that we're not a team that's like vying for first place in the NFC. We'd love to get it, and we're going to work our asses off to get it, and the team's going to fight to get it, but that's not the goal. The goal is to know, is Daniel Jones the guy? Because you can't tell. Like you just said, Josh, you watched a bunch of plays and a bunch of games where he played great. Get ready. It's going to get real ugly real quick. Get ready to watch the Tampa Bay game.
Oh, God.
It is horrid. Get ready to watch the Kansas City game. Not fun.
You know, I can say this. With Jones last season, we went 4-6 when he started, and without Jones, we went 0-6.
Yeah, 0-6.
0-7.
Oh, 0-7.
Because it was 17 games and 18 weeks. That's a new thing, 2021.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, so it's like without Jones.
But with Jones as
our current backups.
Yeah, but with Jones as a starter, we've been 12-25. That's not a good record. Jones' whole career.
That's okay.
But then with the Jones fans,
that is all on
exactly, and this is where the conundrum starts. Is the offensive line sucked, the offensive play calling sucked, and they did suck.
Yeah, it was one of the worst offensive lines in the league, I think.
Horrible. So,
especially what's his name? Who was this?
Nate Solder.
Oh my God, that is as bad as it gets.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't. When you told me that he was one of the highest paid offensive linemen
when we signed him,
did you say?
Yep, when we signed him, the highest.
That blew my mind. I saw people just push him.
Well, you should have seen him on the Patriots. He was an absolute stud, but I think it had to do with his system. So, yeah, tough. It's tough.
He got caught standing, like, his knees were bent, but not bent enough. He was just standing all the time.
Yeah,
they just knocked him over. I was like.
It was rough.
But anyway.
Yeah, either way, as Giants fans, I think we just get to be excited to see what we have in Daniel Jones, get to see what we have in these rookies. And speaking of these rookies, we got to watch right before, so we were actually going to film and go live, or not go live, but start filming. And a new episode of Giants Life came out with basically talking about the draft process. We get a little bit more of an in-depth view of it. So we got to see Joe Shane, Brian Dable, and then all of our draft picks. Got to see Kayvon, Evan Neal. And so, the first thing I wanted to highlight was the absolute brilliance of Brian Dable and Joe Shane and the way they worked together and the way they were on the same page and the way they went through this draft. Like, it just feels nice as a Giants fan who's been a Giants fan now for a little bit to feel like we're in the right hands to build this the right way. Like Joe Shane and Brian Dable, just like their communication with each other, the way they work with each other. Like this video gives really nice depth to that. And you can kind of see how they work together. You can get a little bit more in the draft room, and you can see how they interviewed guys and stuff. It was just awesome.
Yeah, I think they have really great chemistry. That's one of the things that I saw in the video is just them working together. And I think that's super important that the owner and the head coach have good chemistry.
General manager.
What did I keep saying? I
Owner.
keep mixing up the position names.
Yeah.
But yeah, not the owner. The owner is the guy that
He was there. He was there. Luckily, not
but then
talking.
the GM and the head coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, luckily, we don't want him
Saying
calling
anything.
shots. But
No.
But yeah, that and another poignant part of that video that I had watched was actually the interviews and the responses that Kayvon Thibodeau gave whenever they asked him questions. When they had asked him, what was it specifically that they asked him? They said,
If he goes 5 weeks without a sack, how's he going to deal with
yeah,
it?
that's what it was. It was like, hey, man, you're a really great talent. You're an amazing talent, and you've had success all your life. But, you're in the big leagues now. So every player, generally, every player you're going to play is going to be better than anybody else you've ever faced.
Yep.
So, how are you going to deal when it's been 5 games into the season and you don't got a sack yet? I'm not saying he wasn't saying that would happen, but
Well,
he's
how
just
would
saying,
you
hey,
deal with it?
how would you deal with that situation?
And
he's
Kayvon
like,
had a good answer. Kayvon, he was like, he's like, I live my life with a tiny rear view mirror and a huge mirror looking forward. He goes, and my favorite thing that he said was at the end, he goes, if we're at week 5 and I have no sacks, we're going to game plan harder and we're going to get 3 sacks that week. And I think that's when the Giants were sold on him, was like, okay, this guy's going to keep his head down and he's just going to push forward. And I truly trust Joe Shane and Brian Dable to evaluate these guys and make those picks, because Josh, you and me know Kayvon has all the ability in the world. The thing we don't know is him as a person. That's what Joe Shane and Brian Dable are for, and that's where they get to make that decision. And I have all the faith in the world after seeing these small clips of these interviews.
Yeah, I really don't know them too well on a personal level. Like,
Yeah, of course.
I haven't just been able to listen to Kayvon Thibodeau talk for an hour and a half and just listen to him talk, just to find out what's his personality like. I really don't know. Same with Evan Neal or any of the picks. But like you're saying, that's hopefully what they are going to do is they picked the people because they had already talked to them for multiple hours, and that's part of the reason why they drafted them, because they liked their personality, they liked their dependability. They liked all of these traits that make them, we want them on our team because they're team players. They're smart, tough, and dependable. So,
yeah, it was nice to see.
Yeah, it was. I love to see that video. So, anybody out there, definitely go check out that
video.
Yeah,
it just came out. So it's on the New York Giants channel. And the other thing, too, I loved Evan Neal. I feel like we got all these clips of Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau are like peanut butter and jelly, man. They are just like totally different. Kayvon's like this outgoing, super like bombastic, he's just a personality. Like the media's going to love him. Evan Neal is just honestly the stone cold killer, man. Like people talked about Eki Ekwonu being like this guy who just plays offensive tackle vicious. Like Evan Neal is one of the most cool, calm, and collected, determined mofos I've ever seen in my life. But what was cool was we got to see when Joe Shane called him, and you should have seen the smile on his face. Me and Josh were watching together, and I said to Josh, I'm like, look at that smile. Look at that smile. And it's like Evan Neal, he's just talking. He's like, yep, yeah, let's do it. But he actually is like, on the inside, like this guy's so pumped to be a Giant. So pumped. Like he even was like, yeah, Giants will, like at 7, the Giants could take me at 7. Like he was like predicting it, which was super cool. And then the other quick note was we got to see some of the interviews with Evan, and Dable asked great questions. He's like, what's your favorite thing about football? And Evan Neal said, I like to be able to pancake people and get out bent up anger. And he said, he's like, I'd get arrested if I didn't. And then they said, what's your least favorite thing? He goes, I don't have a least favorite thing. I love football. And like that answer sometimes to my ear would sound like if I read it on a script, I'd be like, oh, that's BS. Everyone has something. But when you hear Evan talk, he was like, no, it was genuine as heck.
Yeah, especially once Dable got on the phone, you kind of saw the big smile, like,
yeah.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? It doesn't seem like at first glance that he gives off a whole lot of emotion, and he's sort of a matter-of-fact guy, but that feeling's in there. It's deep inside of that 6'8" mass. You have to dig for a while to find it, but it's there.
I love it.
No,
I love it. It was an awesome video, and I'm just so excited those guys are New York Giants. It just makes me so freaking happy. But with Kayvon Thibodeau, he hasn't even played a snap yet, and me and Josh, we even questioned how much detail we were going to go into on this topic. So, Josh, if I start saying too much, pull me out. Okay?
Okay, I'll reel you
But
back in.
Kayvon Thibodeau wore number 5 in college, and the player who wears number 5 on the New York Giants was Graham Gano. Graham Gano is the one true bright spot of the New York Football Giants over the past 2 years. Graham Gano is an automatic kicker, and not only that, he's a mother effing beast. This guy is awesome. When Graham Gano goes on the field, he's gonna kick a field goal. It is a matter of fact. And he wears number 5. So it wasn't like Kayvon was going to come in and be like, oh yeah, look at this backup defensive back. Like, give me number 5. No, this is Graham Gano. And most people be like, oh, the kicker no, with the Giants, this is Graham Gano.
Amazing.
And
Like,
he
just
is
to
worshipped.
Just to put a stat on that, just to put on what you're saying, make it more clear, is that he is a really talented kicker. In the games that I had watched earlier on in the season, he had a field goal streak of getting them in a row in the high 30s. In fact, he's number 4 all time of the most number of field goals made in a row, and it's in the high 30s. So like Adam Vinatieri, I think, is number 1.
Best kicker of all
I don't remember the others. Yeah. So,
But either way.
Clearly he's got an amazing talent. One of the top, number 4
Overall.
NFL ever. In the most number of field goals in a row. So he's a really great kicker for the Giants.
And so he wanted number 5. And so there's been, basically really what happened. Let's just talk about it objectively, because objectively, there's nothing really wrong with this in my opinion. But Kayvon Thibodeau did get number 5. Kayvon had to pay $50,000 to Graham Gano for number 5, and Graham Gano took all $50,000 and donated it to a puppy support charity. Josh, do you have the exact?
I don't have the exact. I should have pulled it up.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's it was about something about dogs. I'm terrible.
No. I'm gonna pull it up right here. I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah.
Because I want to see the exact charity, because there was. Yeah, so the number swap led to a $50,000 donation from Kayvon Thibodeau to Puppies Behind Bars, which trains incarcerated individuals to raise service dogs for wounded vets and first responders, as well as explosive detection cannies for law enforcement. So basically, just a super, super heartfelt, great charity.
Wholesome.
And yeah, wholesome, great word. And so, so that was kind of it. But now where we dip into the mud a bit is there is a group of people, and not just Giants fans, media personnel alike, that have concerns about Kayvon Thibodeau. I'm not going to say they dislike them. In fact, for example, some of the articles and videos I've seen actually just say why I don't love this, not why I hate this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's being a little bit taken out of context. But basically, some people believe Kayvon is really about himself and about his media presence and about, growing his brand. And so a lot of people now are like, oh, here we go. This is it. First time. He's making a big deal out of getting number 5. He's posting on Instagram, posting on Twitter. The Giants even made all these videos and hype videos about it. And so, now we have kind of these people coming out and being like, look at this. Like, this is what we were concerned about. And really the point they're making, and I really want to specify this, and if anyone is watching and agrees with what I'm saying right now, feel free to clarify down below. But what I believe these people are saying is they're saying this is what's going to lead to his demise one day. Is that the media is going to build him up and build him up and build him up and hype him up and hype him up, and then he's going to go 5 weeks without a sack, and it's not going to go how he said, and the media is going to eat him up, and he's going to lose. He's not going to play as well. It's going to get in his head, and then it's just going to it's this downward spiral where the New York media really does pick apart players that are not performing well. A lot of people would say an Eli Manning is someone who thrived in it, never talked, never showed emotion, had bad games and bad seasons, didn't matter. But now, with Kayvon, all these fans and all these media members are coming out saying, see, this is what's going to be his demise one day. This is what makes us nervous. Sorry, long-winded.
No, yeah, and I don't totally agree that he's gonna be an issue. I mean, I think
We just don't know.
it's yeah. I don't see why you've got to immediately start drama. Like he's barely been with the team like a few weeks or a month or whatever, however long it's been. Only thing he's done is gotten a jersey which hurt nobody. He gets to live on his legacy of being number 5. You know, Gano didn't really feel any harm in that. He got to pick a charity that he wanted $50,000 to go to.
Can I play devil's advocate? Because I always do.
Yeah, go ahead.
The devil's advocate would say, yeah, I agree with you, but the problem is this buildup is going to be how he falls. Is all this hype. So like if you look at the New York Giants media page, they put this huge hype video up about him getting number 5, and everyone's hyping him up. And they don't think he's going to hold after 5 weeks. They have no problem with what happened. Cool, he got number 5. Cool, he got $50,000 donated to a puppy charity for wounded veterans. That's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is this hype he's going to get is going to it's going to make his fall so hard that he's never going to be able to get back up.
What hype?
Just the hype that he's going to be that he's going to be a superstar and that he's going to be amazing and
that was already there. That hype that he's going to be a superstar and he's going to be amazing was there long before he got number 5.
And Josh, I agree with you, and I'm just playing devil's advocate. My argument would be, well, he's going to be a superstar. He already is a superstar. Look at the tape.
Exactly.
Look at the tape.
I mean,
I know that sounds super irrational, but this guy's going to be a difference maker. Like, I'm really confident in that. And, like, also, too, the Giants haven't had a player like this since Odell Beckham, and before that it was Michael Strahan, who retired in 2005. Like, we haven't had a difference-maker personality. And watch the interview Kayvon gave. I just believe in Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll evaluating this guy. That's truly what it comes down to. Take the tape out of it. That was kind of a silly, anecdotal, just me wanting to stand on my pedestal. Have you seen how good he is? I'm so excited we got him. Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen, I trust them. They drafted this guy. I have no reason not to trust them. This is awesome. That's how I feel.
You know, and another point is I don't think he's made it as big a deal. I think everybody around him
he has. He posted it everywhere. If you follow him on Twitter and Instagram, which I do.
That's what I was just about to bring up, though. What I was just about to bring up is I went to his Twitter page and I'm looking at it, and the only thing that he has actually said himself with his own typing was "It's time, heart," and where he hearted that and he said that. Everything else has just been like a retweet, like, oh yeah, they said that, that's cool.
Yeah,
he's just retweeting. It's like retweeting is not the same as, to me, it's not the same as you saying something yourself about. He hasn't said anything to me. He hasn't done anything wrong.
I think a lot of these media members and a lot of these content creators and a lot of these fans that are feeling like this, I think they feel like this because they've just been burned so many times. And like, kind of to close this off, just, you know, we can keep talking about it, but I just want everyone who's listening to know we're actually going to have someone on next week who really subscribes to this thought process, and this is their opinion, and we're going to have them on for a discussion. Like, I want to dive deeper into this because, to me, the Kayvon Thibodeau pick was the absolute number one most perfect pick we could have gotten at number 5. It is a dream scenario. That is how much I like this kid and how excited I am for him to be a Giant. And there's people that don't agree with that, and that's awesome. I'm not going to have anyone on to argue or like yell at them, but I would love to, you know, hear their point of view and we can hash it out, because I think Giants fans, like a lot of other fans, like Detroit Lion fans and Cleveland Brown fans, have been put through the blender of emotions when it comes to being a football fan. And I think now we're coming out the other side, in my opinion, with people that are running the team right, drafting players that have personality but are going to contribute. And when you have good management and good coaching, those players stick around and play great. So I could go on for hours about this, but I just want everyone to know I'm not like you're a dumbass that needs to do this. No. You can have your own opinion, and I can see where you're coming from. If I can play devil's advocate, I have enough respect to see where you're coming from. I just personally, Kayvon Thibodeau to me is like, I am so excited about Kayvon Thibodeau. Go ahead.
Same, and I don't think I do want to be clear that it is a very small minority of
no, it's not a ton of people, but there are media members, and they're not all New York Giants related. Go ahead, though. But yeah.
Yeah, and there is a minority of people that seem to be making it a big deal that he, quote, stole number 5 from the kicker. But
Yeah, steal. I don't see.
that's a super strong word, and it's like
Yeah, I
not
don't
what
think
happened.
that's. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It's a super small, tiny minority that have this twisted thought process. I'm calling it that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying
your opinion.
personally,
Gotcha.
my personal opinion is that's a very twisted thought process of this. And I'm just saying, let them play. Let's see.
Yeah,
Let's see what he
let's let
does on
the.
the field.
Yeah.
Let's let them play. Let their own actions and play time,
Speak for
kind of
itself.
speak for itself. Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to start any kind of drama about that.
Yeah, and I think as a fan base, I think I would really like us all as a fan base because I think this applies too to like the Daniel Jones haters. I think it's one of these things where we need to wish the best for people, not, it's like, do I think Daniel Jones is the guy? If someone held a gun to my head, I'd say no. I think we're going to replace him next year. Do I want Daniel Jones to be the guy? Yes, more than anything in the whole wide world. Like, I want Daniel Jones to be the next Patrick Mahomes, next Josh Allen. Like, I want that. Like, I'm rooting for him. And I think it's like the same thing with these Kayvon Thibodeau, not haters, because I really don't think they're haters. I think they're okay with the pick. They're just suspicious. With these Kayvon Thibodeau questioners, let's just let everything play out, and let's see how he does on the field, and then let's go from there.
Yeah, and even off the field, I think he's going to be great off the field as well. And I think time will tell. You know what I mean?
Time will tell.
But all I'm going to say to put an end on that conversation, for me anyway, you can keep going, but for me, I am super pumped, and I think this team is awesome. The chemistry's great. The coaches are great. We're going to do a lot better this season on and off the field than we did last season.
I love it. I absolutely am in love with the Kayvon Thibodeau pick. I have literally a video just 2 down here of me screaming like a little schoolgirl about getting Kayvon Thibodeau. So I have no room to talk about anything besides that I love this guy. But I look forward to next week, guys. Like I said, we are going to have someone on who disagrees with what Kayvon Thibodeau's been doing and disagrees with me and Josh.
Absolutely. So there's someone that disagrees with this sentiment, and we'll just try to learn a little bit more and respect his point of view.
It's a good conversation to have, I think. I think as a fan base, it's a good conversation to have. And, like, we'll stick up for ourselves and give our opinion, but we're going to be respectful. And, like, don't expect me to come down and yell at someone because they have a different opinion. Like, it's a free country. You can think whatever you want. We're all Giants fans at the end of the day. We all hate the Eagles. We all hate the Cowboys. We all hate the Commanders. And we love the Giants.
We're
and that's
the same team.
Yeah, so let's be on the same team. So looking forward to it. It's definitely not something where I'm going to be like, oh, you're piece of shit, but I'm gonna be like, no, Kayvon's gonna be amazing, mark my words, like, hold me to it.
Yeah, definitely a spicy episode.
Spicy. I don't mind it though. I don't mind it. I think it's good to do. There's not a whole lot to talk about, but we're gonna have another episode Thursday, guys, later on in the evening. I was thinking, Josh, we can talk about it here on the podcast for a minute. We should do do it live on Twitch and record it.
Let's do it live.
And then we can react to it.
That's a meme. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
No, but I need to be. But I think that's what we do.
Yeah, that would be fun, especially just to see. We already know the teams, obviously, but just to see the kind of schedule. Who's going to be our first opponent? And then I'm going to look at what's our record against that opponent. What kind of team? What kind of players do they have?
Yeah.
Who did they draft? What can we expect in a win or loss on our first game? You want to have a win on that first game.
You do. Momentum, man.
God, because momentum, it makes you feel so good. As soon as if it goes 0-1, just that 0-1, it makes you feel terrible. Like, oh shit.
And the thing is, Josh, you have to sit in that stew for a week. You lose a game, you don't get to play again. Every day is a little less shiny. The beer tastes a little, like, everything tastes worse. Everything, it smells worse. It's awful. And when you win, it's amazing. So yeah, absolutely. Do you want to hear the rumor of who it supposedly is?
Rumor? There's a rumor?
Yeah,
I didn't know there was a rumor.
There's leaks going out, yeah.
What's going on? What's the leak? I didn't know about that.
Week 1, again, not verified, but I did read a couple tweets saying it's against the Commanders.
Oh, the Commanders.
Who we have a pretty good record against. We did
sweep them. If we get to start the season 0-1 and just sweep house with the
1-0. 1-0, you mean?
Let's go 1-0.
Yeah.
What did I say?
You said 0-1, but 1-0. Yes.
Oh, yeah. 1-0.
Yeah.
We definitely want to be going 1-0. That's one of the biggest things for me is going 1-0 on the season because that first game to me is so important. and building some momentum to feel confident in the season. I feel like you're going to win so much more games throughout the season just by starting there and having that win under your belt game 1. So if it is, I'm actually hoping that it is the Commanders.
Yeah, me too. I hope it is too. And I think the other
I actually
thing.
hope it is.
Yeah, me too. And so I think the other thing, too, guys, very quickly before we close out here, is I think Tuesdays and Thursdays will become normal release dates now for the podcast for the next few weeks. And then we'll go from there. I know it's been a little bit sporadic, and I've gotten some really great advice personally from Justin Pennick from Talking Giants when we had him on, and he said, be consistent in your schedule. It's really important. So I think for the next couple weeks, we're going to try to do Tuesdays and Thursdays as release dates. So I don't know about you, Josh, but I just like doing these better on weekdays than on the weekend. Like, I like this weekend just watching some of the game, chilling out. So
Yeah, because the weekend is like we're just chilling, we're
Yeah.
relaxed. Yeah.
So-
We're like tired from the work week maybe.
yeah,
So-
exactly. So we'll take it. We'll play it by ear. But either way, great podcast. Thank you for everyone who watches. Thank you for everyone who has subscribed, commented down below. I seriously appreciate it. Me and Josh both do. If you're listening on Spotify, please give us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment. Let us know if you disagreed with any of our takes or if everything we said was absolute trash or if we're the best podcast you've ever heard. Any of those, we're happy to hear. And on that note, everyone, we'll see you next time.